It's been weeks since Ethan disappeared, but I can still hear his voice. We were inseparable since childhood. Late night bike rides, ghost stories under blankets, dumb adventures in the woods. We always pushed boundaries, dared each other to go one step further into the strange. That's what led us to Old Briar Road, a stretch of overgrown path behind the town that locals avoided like a curse. Some said it led to the foundation of a burned down house. Others said it simply went nowhere. Naturally, we had to see for ourselves. It was cloudy that afternoon, with rain teasing the air. The woods felt heavy, like they were breathing around us. I remember Ethan laughing, mocking the legends as we walked deeper in. "Maybe we'll find a portal to another world," he joked. But as the light dimmed and the trail narrowed, the silence became loud. Birds stopped chirping, wind stopped blowing, and then we heard the bells. They didn't belong in the forest. They were small, delicate, like wind chimes deep underground. Ethan walked ahead, drawn toward the sound. I told him to wait. He didn't. 1 minute he was 10 steps ahead. The next, he was gone. No scream, no sound, just gone. I shouted his name until my voice cracked. I ran through brambles, circled the same clearing over and over, but the trail had vanished. I swear, the forest rearranged itself. By the time I got back to town, it was night. I ran to Ethan's house, breathless and panicked. His mom opened the door, looked at me strangely, and said, "Ethan? Who's Ethan?" I thought she was joking, but the photos in their living room had changed. Where there were once pictures of the two of us, vacations, birthdays, school events, now there were just pictures of me. Alone. No one at school remembered him. His locker was empty. His desk was gone. Even our group chat no longer had his name in it. It was like reality had surgically removed him. But I remember. Every second. At night, I still get texts. Unsent messages with glitchy symbols. Sometimes just the word help in all caps. Once I got a photo, taken from inside the forest, looking out like someone trapped behind a veil of trees. In the background, I saw a figure. Blurry. Familiar. I've gone back to Briar Road since then. Countless times. But I never find the same path. The forest guards it now, like it's hiding something it doesn't want to give back. Ethan didn't just disappear. He was erased. And now I feel it. Something watching me. Waiting, like I'm next. If you ever hear bells in the woods, no matter how soft, don't follow them. Don't let the forest forget you too. They say your school days are the best years of your life. But for me, they've never ended. It started with detention. I was the last kid in the building, held back after school for something I didn't even do. Mr. Harlan claimed I broke a clock, one that hadn't worked in years. As the sun dipped below the trees outside, the long hallways fell silent. The lights buzzed overhead, flickering in that sickly green way old fluorescent bulbs do. When I stepped out of the detention room, I realized the school was empty. Too empty. No janitor sweeping, no staff closing doors, just echoes. That's when I heard it, the soft click of shoes down the hall. At first I thought maybe a teacher was still around, so I called out. No answer. The steps continued, slow, steady, as if whoever it was knew exactly where I was. I turned the corner. Nothing. The hallway stretched in both directions like a tunnel into darkness. Then I saw the locker door swinging open, locker 237. I remembered it because it had been sealed shut for years. Rumor was a girl had died there, fell down the staircase during a fire drill that never happened. I never believed the stories. But when the locker opened wide, I swear I saw an eye staring back at me. I backed away, heart racing, but the hallway shifted. I mean that literally. It shifted. What should have led to the staircase now led to the library. Every hallway turned into another. The classroom doors were all open now, and every room looked off. Desks upside down. Blackboards filled with scribbles and chalk that wasn't white, but deep red. I could hear whispers coming from inside. A chorus of voices repeating the same phrase. The bell never rang. The lesson never ended. I ran. I don't even remember which way. Every door led to the same hallway. The posters on the walls now had eyes. I passed the nurse's office and saw my own name written on the door in dripping ink. Patient, you. I screamed, but the school absorbed the sound like it didn't exist. That's when I saw her, the girl from the rumors. Her face was pale, neck twisted, dress scorched and torn, her feet floating inches above the floor. She didn't speak. She just pointed to the classroom behind me. And when I turned, All the students were there. Desks filled with shadowy figures, eyes wide, smiling too wide, waiting. One empty seat at the front with my name on it. I don't remember sitting down, but I must have. The door slammed shut, and now every day, I relive that final lesson, over and over and over. The chalk screeches, the hands tick backward, the bell never rings. If you hear whispers in your school after hours, leave, immediately. Because some schools don't just teach, they trap. It was supposed to be a short drive, 40 minutes tops. I was heading home from a late shift, and the highway was empty, swallowed in the kind of darkness that seemed to erase the world outside my headlights. I had driven this road dozens of times before, but tonight felt different. The radio cut in and out with bursts of static, like even though I hadn't touched the dial. My phone had no signal, just dead silence, except for the hum of my engine and the tires rolling over the cracked asphalt. Somewhere past mile marker 63, I noticed the signs had changed. The familiar gas station signs were replaced by rusted, unmarked boards. One read, "Turn back now." I laughed nervously, assuming it was vandalized or part of some Halloween joke. But the longer I drove, the stranger things became. The road stretched endlessly, like it was looping itself. The GPS glitched, blinking rapidly before freezing altogether. My car clock jumped backward, 2:43 a.m., 2:27 a.m., 2:01 a.m., like time itself was unraveling. Then I saw the girl. She was standing on the shoulder, barely lit by my high beams. Her white dress clung to her like it was soaked, her hair stringy and black, hanging over her face. She didn't move, didn't wave, didn't even flinch as I slowed down. Against my better judgment, I rolled down the window just a bit and called out, "Are you okay?" She didn't answer. She just raised one hand and pointed forward down the road. That should have been the moment I turned around. But I didn't. I kept going. The air grew colder inside the car. I turned off the AC, still freezing. My breath fogged up the windshield. When I looked into the rearview mirror, I nearly swerved off the road. She was in the back seat, just sitting there. I didn't stop the car. I didn't even blink. I just kept driving. My knuckles turned white on the steering wheel. I could hear her breathing behind me, slow, ragged, like something ancient. Then she whispered, "This isn't your road anymore." The trees on either side of the highway seemed to move, closing in, towering taller than they had any right to be. The moon disappeared, the sky turned a sick shade of gray, and the road signs were now scratched with deep claw marks. One more whispered word, home. I slammed the brakes and looked back. She was gone, but so was the road. There was only dirt now, and beyond the dirt a row of headlights, cars parked, abandoned, all facing the same direction. Doors open, engines cold, like drivers just got out and vanished. I don't know where I am anymore. My phone won't turn on. The engine doesn't respond, and I think I hear footsteps approaching from behind the car. If you ever see her, don't stop, don't look, don't drive this road. Because some journeys were never meant to end. It was supposed to be a quiet night ride. Just me, a half-empty train, and the rhythmic clatter of the tracks to keep me company. I had boarded the last train from a small rural station, the kind of place where announcements echo into silence and even the breeze feels abandoned. The conductor hadn't spoken a word when he took my ticket, just nodded and walked away. That should have been my first clue. The train itself looked older than usual. Faded velvet seats, yellowed lighting, and windows so stained by age that the outside world looked like a smear of shadows. Still, I shrugged it off. I was tired, and the hum of the train lulled me into an uneasy calm. About 20 minutes in, I noticed something strange. We hadn't stopped at any stations. None. Just endless black trees rushing past like we were diving into a void. I glanced around. The other passengers, 5 or 6 of them, sat perfectly still, their heads bowed like they were asleep or praying. I cleared my throat, softly at first. No response. Then louder. Still nothing. One man near me was whispering to himself, his lips barely moving. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone chilled me. It was like he was reciting something, over and over, almost begging. I got up and walked toward the next car, but the door wouldn't budge. It wasn't locked. It just wouldn't open. The handle turned, but the door stayed sealed like it was part of the wall. That's when the lights flickered. They didn't just dim, They pulsed as if the train itself was breathing. And in that dim, jerky glow, I saw it. Someone standing outside the window, keeping pace with the train. It was impossible. We were moving fast, but there he was, gliding beside us. A man in a black coat and wide-brimmed hat, his face obscured. I blinked. He was gone. I sat down quickly, my hands cold and slick. The air in the cabin grew thick like it had soaked in dread. Then the announcement started. Only, there were no speakers, just a voice, calm, deep, too clear to be real. It spoke a single sentence, over and over. All passengers must remain seated. Do not look outside. Do not acknowledge the man. I wanted to believe I was dreaming, that I dozed off and slipped into some twisted corner of my imagination. But when I turned to the window again, he was there, closer, staring. Only this time he had no eyes, just hollow, dripping pits. My body locked up. I couldn't scream, couldn't move. The other passengers now looked at me with pity, like they knew. The train never stopped. I don't know where I am now, or how long I've been here. Time doesn't work the same on this train. One thing I know for sure, once you see him, you never get off.